Today we're going to be looking at how to install the Bevins Bricks lighting kit into the Jazz Club Lego set. Let's get started by taking off the floors above everything, and we're going to start specifically with the lamppost. We're going to be removing the tiles all the way up to the facade of the building, so we're going to have to remove this decorative wall, the table and chairs out front, the overhang that's above the window, and then we're going to remove some bricks above that window, because what we want to do is we're going to be taking the light post, placing it back in its location, routing the wires up and through the area that we just removed all the tiles from, and then setting that wire right next to the window frame, as this was about the easiest way I could come up with getting the wire inside of the building. Now, with that in place, we're going to lay all our tiles back down above the wire to get everything nice and neatly hid, and we're going to put the decorative wall and the window and everything else back together again. Once you get everything back together, we're going to be moving to the inside of the building, where we're going to be removing the 1x3 tile and a 1x1 tile at the top of the stairs. I do want to point out we're going to set that 1x1 tile aside because we are going to be using it just a little bit later. But underneath the 1x3 tile, we are simply going to take the wire we just ran in from the light post and put that tile back over top of it. Now we can take our two plugs that we have and plug them into our 12-port board. The two plugs are from the battery and from the street light. On the back side of the building, we got to do some quick disassembly. And this is a new product that I just recently created that I'm showing you here. The LED is physically built into the tile. And the reason that I'm doing that is to try and prevent people from damaging the wire on their lighting products. And I'm going to be coming out with a lot more of these very soon. But anyway, we take some of the tiling off, and then what I'm going to do is physically just pull this whole section of wall out. It comes apart fairly simply. You do have a connecting brick, a Technic brick on the side that's kind of holding it in place, but that's okay. We're going to clip that piece back on with the light on top of it, slide that back in through the hole. Then you're going to do some really quick reassembly, put your tiles back in place, and take the plug from the light we just installed and plug that into the 12-port board. Now out front, we're going to pull all of our little street light fixtures off the front of the building. And we're going to be installing the warm white micro LED in each one of these. All you simply do is you remove the plate, put the light underneath the plate, and then put it back together. To install the first one, you take the 2x6 tile off, route the wire underneath it, put it back down, and then on the facade, because we want to take the whole marquee sign out, we just remove the 1x8 tiles on either side of that, so it is removable. And then again, you just take your micro LED, you put one on the right fixture, and you're going to put one on the left. And all we are going to do is just lay the wire in between the marquee entrance and the lights, but we're going to plug them both into our 12-port board, so that way we can see them lighting up as we go, so we know everything's good. The next thing is we're taking the stage off. And again, this is another one of my new products. This has an RGB light in it, so it flashes a multitude of colors. And that's going to give that stage a nice in-use look. Now, here's the most difficult part of the installation. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the entire marquee piece off of the lower half of the entrance. And we have to do this for a multitude of reasons, and you're going to see as we go along. But the first thing we got to do is we got to take all these trans yellow plates off, and we have to do that because we're going to be modifying everything here. So before we get started, the first thing we have to do is take the Jazz Club portion of the sign off, set it to the side, and then we're going to be removing the 6x6 plate. Now, here we have two 1x5 plates, and I call it a 2x2 corner plate. And what we have to do is we have to take those and put them on the back side of the wall now. So we want our 6x6 is going to go in the front. So all you're doing is just flipping the sides. So you're going to trace the back portion of the marquee out. With that done, now we're going to be taking the 6x6 plate and we're going to be installing another one of my brand new products. This product, again, has the LEDs already pre-installed into the trans yellow plates. And you're going to need two of these. Each one of these has 6 LEDs soldered together in a row. And what you're going to want to do is, starting at the very front corner of the 6x6, you're going to go every other stud with one of these yellow lights. And we're doing this because the end result is what gives us the dancing effect for the marquee entrance. And as you can see, again, I am staggering it one after the other with a 1 stud gap in between. So we're going to get the first chain done, and then you're just going to let that cable kind of hang off to the side, as you can see here. And then we go back and we bring the second string in to fill in those gaps. Once those are filled in, we're going to take that very last light, because we have one light left, and we're going to put that towards the middle of the marquee entrance. And that way it gives us a lot of light coming down inside of it. With all that installed, we're going to take them now and plug both of them into this multi-function board. And it's important to note that the board is got the switch in the all the way down position, and the speed is set at the highest setting. And you plug each one of those strings into one of the outputs. Now we can take this board and just put it back onto the bottom of it. You can either just let it come straight out the back, or you can do like I'm doing here, which I just kind of bring the cable up and through the back a little bit, and then I press the 6x6 plate back into place. Now we can focus on the Jazz Club portion of this sign. With this is again another new product. This particular string of lights has 12 LEDs already pre-installed on this self-adhesive strip. And what I recommend doing is you start this string of lights at the very bottom of the Jazz Club sign. Do not remove all of the sticker tape on the back side of it. Only do a little bit at a time, so that way you don't accidentally stick something to something else. You don't want it to happen. What I like to do is pull about half of it off, bring it around, and then pull the rest of it off to bring it back down to the bottom of the sign. That way it's a lot easier to place on the side of this. And this, again, is the premium mock for the Jazz Club. I will be coming out with a much more inexpensive and easier to install version of this, hopefully very soon. Anyway, with that installed, now we got to take it, we clip it back onto the marquee sign out in front of the building, and kind of rearrange our hot dogs a little bit with the bottom piece. You really want to make sure that you get that little wire piece kind of tucked in underneath that. But after we get that all plugged in together, put it on, make sure everything works, and there we go. It really looks amazing lit up this way. But we're still not done. Remember I told you about that 1x1 tile that you were going to have to save later on? Well, now that we're getting ready to move to the top of the building, this is where you need it. You're going to remove the 1x3 white tile, place the 1x1 back in its place, and then we're going to take the tile modular portion of the building connectors, place it in the 2-stud gap, and then run it over and plug it into the 12-port expansion board. Now we can start on the second floor. And to get started on that, we're going to flip this up on its back side, take off the 2x12 and the 2x8 plate. Take the 2x8 plate, put it back on the far back corner. We're going to take the top half of the modular building connector and put it there. And then we're going to take the 2x2 that is included with this set and place it next to that to fill in that gap. Now we're going to take that modular building connector, plug it into one of the 1x4 lights that are included, plug a 6-inch extension cable into the other side of that, and then the other side of that we're going to plug into another 1x4 lighted brick. And then we're going to fish it through the back side of the building through the stairwell. So that way we can get it up into where we need it. But before moving it, we want to make sure that we place the 1x4 that's for the downstairs floor right here. On the top side of the floor, we're going to take that 1x4, which was the last piece of the chain, and then plug in a tile portion of one of the modular building connectors into the other end of that light. Then we're going to push open the door to get inside the tailor's room, and we're going to be placing the 1x4 brick on that little piece I'm holding. And you want to make sure it's 3 studs from the end, because we don't want to pinch the wire or mess up where the plug goes into it. We're going to put our 1x6 tile back down, and then we're going to take that modular building connector back out into the stairwell area. And what I'm going to do is there is a small stud gap. It was a 2-stud gap there next to the stairwell where a tile was, and we're going to place our modular building connector there. Now we can move on to the floor above it. And as you can see, the floor above it, we wanted to make sure it aligned correctly. To do that, we remove the 1x6 plate, take the top half of the modular building connector, plug it into another 1x4 brick light, place the modular building connector like so. Then we're going to take the other half of that modular building connector and plug it into that 1x4 light that we just placed on the plate on the bottom. I know it was a little premature on that, but anyway, plug that in, and then we're going to fish it up and into the building, because once we get that fished up and inside, we're going to place that up on the side wall. For placement, we got to remove the 2x2 corner tile piece, and that is exactly where we're going to be placing that last half of the modular building connector. The final portion of that is going to be going on to the roof section that is above this. And for that, what we're going to do is we're going to remove this 2x2 tan plate. And we're also going to remove the 2x8 dark gray plate. And remember, just a little bit ago, we took a 1x6 out of the floor below it. We're going to use that and put that in place of the 2x8. And then we're going to take that 2x2 tan piece that we just removed and place that back in there as well. Now that we have all that relocated, we're ready to place the final modular building plug on there. And before doing that, we're going to take that modular building plug it into a 1x4 brick light, plug that light into a 6-inch extension cable, and then plug that into another 1x4 bit light. So we will have a total of 2 of the 1x4 lights underneath the inside of this roof and place it on. And when everything is said and done, you should have an amazingly beautiful looking build. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you are interested in kits like this, I'll be coming out with many more soon.